So, I want to start off with some amazing news. And the amazing news that I want to start off with is congratulations to Pat McAfee and Mrs. McAfee on the birth of their first child. As I believe it was yesterday, Pat took to Twitter and announced that him and his wife had their first child, a daughter. Nothing but the best to Pat McAfee and his wife on the birth of their first child. It is an amazing It is an amazing experience. It's an amazing experience becoming a parent, I'm sure, and you know, congratulations to Pat and his wife. That's all there is to say, pretty much, about it. But congratulations. Um, Now we slide over to WWE and one of the newest promotions from NXT, that being JD McDonough, as JD McDonough was called up through the draft. And now there are rumors that JD McDonough could be the newest member of the Judgment Day. There have been rumors, there's always rumors, as when it comes to when it comes to when it comes to additions to pre-existing factions, I should say. There is always rumors that WWE could add new talent to the faction as a way to refresh the faction and make things better. Or maybe not make things better, but hit the refresh button on a faction and make the faction new again, fresh again. And that's been something that was talked about with the with the Bloodline. And adding, Tamina or Naomi to the Bloodline, along with her cousins or her husband, respectively. But JD McDonough, to my knowledge, and my knowledge is very rough knowledge, as I didn't know this, but JD McDonough has a long history with Finn Balor from their time in the British independent scene, as Finn had a hand in training or helping JD hone his craft when he was young in the business. And it would be an interesting combination having JD and Finn together in the Judgment Day. With that being said, I don't think it would be a bad idea. I think it would also be a perfect way to get JD McDonough comfortable on the main roster. I think it would be a perfect way to get JD McDonough comfortable on the main roster. I think it would be a perfect way to get himself get himself under control on the main roster. But the one thing I would have to say is that they need not bring JD McDonough into the Judgment Day if they're going to do the same thing with the Judgment Day that they did when Edge left the Judgment Day with Finn Balor. Because they don't need to change that dynamic. They would just need to change... they would just need to add another member to better understand... I don't want to say better understand the dynamic, but the fact is, it's like... How do I put it? It's sort of like, with Finn already there, you don't need another leader. The stable doesn't need another leader. It doesn't need somebody that... you already have the leader. You don't need somebody else that could lead. You could have... it would be easy if I knew what I was saying, but the fact is, JD would work in the faction if you want to use him in the same way that you help Dominic find his footing on the main roster, I guess is the best way to put it. If you want to do anything more than help him find his footing, like, it shouldn't be where Finn gets taken out by JD and JD's the leader of the faction. Because you've done that already. If you want to do it, bring JD in, have him lead the faction for a year. I mean, be a part of the faction for like a year or so, and then have him try and take out Finn. Or even have Dom try and take out Finn. You know what I mean? But they're an established faction. It would be an easy way to allow Finn Balor, to allow to allow JD to find his footing on the main roster. And I think it would be a great idea, to be honest with you. I do think it would be a great idea. And something worth considering. Speaking of something worth considering, Tama Tonga is somebody that was considered for WWE a couple of months ago, but as of recent reports, it seemed like, he's staying in New Japan. He's not going to be a part of WWE anytime soon. And the likely reason why he's actually not going to be a part of WWE anytime soon is actually because of the hiring freeze. And he is currently working with New Japan in New Japan without a contract. So technically WWE could bring him in. But the fact of the matter is, WWE is not going to bring him in because of the fact that he is working without a contract. I also just want to make it clear that, number one, that the main reason why it seemed like I was a little distracted when I was talking about JD McDonough is because my cat was getting into places that she wasn't supposed to. So my cat was being a little distracting when I was talking about JD McDonough being in the Judgment Day. Overall, I think JD McDonough being in a Judgment Day would be good for everybody involved, as long as JD is just another member and not somebody that they're grooming to be the leader of the faction, unless they are long-term, that is their long-term plan, and not something that they want to do right out of the gate. Because it would be a mistake if they want to do it right out of the gate. Considering the fact that Finn and Edge just finished their feud, it would be a mistake. You know what I mean? Considering that being the case, it would be a mistake if they went the other way. But that's just my opinion. As far as Tama Tonga is concerned, I think it's bad from the standpoint of WWE that they have not had the opportunity to bring in Tama Tonga, because he would be a big get for WWE. And people might say, "Oh, nobody's gonna know, nobody's gonna know Tama Tonga. Nobody's gonna know Tama Tonga. Nobody's gonna know Tama Tonga." I would say that if people are so sold on the fact that people would know who Jay White is, then the same people will know who Tama Tonga is. You know what I mean? But either way, Tama Tonga is somebody that, I guess Tama Tonga is somebody that would benefit from being in WWE, and it would help. But I'm not sold on the idea, again, that enough people would know him right out of the gate. I'm not saying that eventually WWE would not invest and that Tama Tonga would not benefit being in WWE and WWE would not benefit from having Tama Tonga. I'm not saying that, but the fact of the matter is, again, I don't know how many people would know him off the rip if you don't invest in trying to get people to know him. But it's disappointing that the hiring freeze is the reason why talent like Nick Aldis and Tama Tonga and Hikuleo and Jay White are finding It's not bad that they're finding employment elsewhere, but it's bad. That's the reason why they're not in WWE. Speaking of somebody that might not be in WWE much longer, Drew McIntyre might, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, McIntyre is kind of expecting that he will not be in WWE long term and could be finishing up with the company. It is rare that you hear the talent say they are expecting be wrapping up with the company. But apparently, McIntyre could be expecting to wrap up with WWE sooner rather than later. It would be disappointing if McIntyre does walk away, as he has been an asset to WWE, and I believe it was Meltzer that said WWE does need a new top heel and some more heels at the top of the roster. They need to bring Judgment Day to the next level. They need to bring Drew McIntyre over the heel side. And that is something that I said after Backlash, that McIntyre could go to the heel side and feud with Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins. But if McIntyre is wrapping up, then they're not going to do that. Let me know down in the comment section below, though, if you guys would be disappointed to see McIntyre leave. And also, I just want to put it out there, today is Friday, and you know what that means. Rampage preview. But also, tomorrow is Backlash, so that means tonight is a Rampage preview, and tomorrow is the preview for Backlash. So you got previews 2 days in a row, and I will see you in the next news video.